And we're back again after a month with the Futureshock podcast, episode 4. My name is DTM, this is CFT, and alongside Andrew Miller for the first time ever.
Yes, indeed.
And wanted to get straight into something here before we get to all the lighthearted stuff. There'll be plenty of time for that. Again, this is an out-of-character podcast as far as gonna stay as out-of-character. But a couple things I want to say before we really get started here. Donald's giving me a few minutes to talk about this, not as if I really needed to ask. But, so, for those who know me or don't know me even, I've been taking a hiatus from EFED due to a lot of mental health concerns, depression and all that stuff. Kind of kicking in a little bit, and I mean it's really kicking in. So either way, I just wanted to thank all the people who have checked in on me and wished me well, because I've put I posted it on my CFT Facebook, and because someone had to fix the audio. So what I was going to say more was I just wanted to thank some people who let's see here, James Sargent, I can thank him if he sees this, Sandra Cool, Ian Quellen, Brian Mead, a handful of other guys who, definitely shown their support for me, and I appreciate you guys if you end up seeing this. And on top of that, I want to make something clear, just one thing before we continue here, that even if I don't know you guys, this is not just directed at the NGW or 3WA roster, it's directed towards any and everybody. If you feel any thoughts, like, depression, loneliness, whatever it may be, just know you're not alone, and you can always message me, Hayden Milliken. I'm not hard to find. My profile pictures of me at work in the radio studio. So if you just want to message me, or if you have me on Facebook as a friend, by all means, reach out. I'm willing to hear your story because you all have been willing to listen to this. Just, again, thank you all. I'm grateful. I'm going to pull through this. I plan to return to in-character stuff at Resolution, but until then, I'm just staying out of character strictly, and so also sorry if I seem a little off during this, but I'm going to pull through it. But Donald, I'm not trying to waste any more time, so I'll let you do your thing.
Alright, yes indeed. Thank you all for everyone's been there for Hayden.
Yeah.
As you said, we're coming back at Resolution, January 1st, the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Myself, 3WA has been on a little hiatus due to own personal reasons as well, so thank you everyone who also checked in on me and all that. But like you said, let's not waste no more time on that. Let's get straight into Season 4, or after Resolution. So after Resolution, we will have the beginning of the King of the Ring taking place over the course of 2 months, leading into the Proving Ground pay-per-view, where the King of the Ring winner will get a world title shot against the current World Heavyweight Champion.
And I'll tell you right now, I personally can't wait to see that fucking tournament go all the way out. And to be honest, leading all the way up to the finals with that world title match, you never know who's gonna walk away with that fucking crown, and you don't know who's gonna be the world champion too come Proving Ground. So you're just gonna have to watch it.
Yes, indeed, you will. And I just wanted to give a little reiteration. Season 4 is gonna have quite a bit of changes, starting with Resolutions. We're gonna have only one secondary title. That's gonna be the X Division title. We're going to be going in with Mad Dog X taking on the U.S. champion Tyson York, the television champion Zay Styles, I believe, and the current international champion Noah Youngblood, in a 4-way elimination style match. And the winner of that's going to become the Unified X Division champion. And also, I'd like to formally retire the women's tag team titles, the women's television title. There will only be 4 titles come Season 4. The World Heavyweight Championship, the X Division title, the tag team titles, and the women's championship. Going back to a simpler route.
And I think it goes without saying that, you didn't list them, amongst retired belts a moment ago, but I think it goes without saying that the other 3 mid-card titles are being retired. So
Yes.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Well, it's kind of more of a unification if you think about it.
Well, true. I was just saying, like, those titles are being done away with.
Oh yeah.
From championship reduction, we also have a roster reduction. We're gonna have 50 full-time members, 10 women, 10 tag teams, and 20 singles men.
We haven't counted up the number of different call owners, because we got a lot of people who have.
I believe it's around 25 call owners to 30. I did a little bit of counting yesterday.
So it's a pretty wide range of people.
Oh yes. Of course, some people's gonna have multiple calls. Some people just gonna have one call. I mean, you're more than welcome to suggest adding more calls. I mean, but like I said, full time, 50 people, and due to the reduction of people, I also like to add on top of that, 3WA's is gonna be storyline driven from now on. What that means is it's gonna still be sim, but it's gonna be more quality, long-term storytelling. Not everyone's gonna be there every week, but everyone is gonna have their place in storylines.
Oh yeah.
No, I do want to say this. I hate to cut you off, Andrew, but give me just a second here. Again, as most people know, I am, talent relations for 3WA. So, say once the stuff starts and there's nothing for you, keep in mind there's many different card placements, like their lower mid card, upper mid card, main event. But what I'm just trying to say is, if you have any storyline ideas, or maybe you want to do something like
reach out.
One of your characters.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we're not closing you out of this. Like what we're going to say.
Not at all.
We're very open to ideas. We're not like a lot of EFEDs out there, which is like, this is what we're. Excuse me, like for my language here, but here's what we're gonna do. Fuck you if you don't want to do it. We're not like that.
Oh no.
I mean,
here's the thing: you control the narrative. We may give an outline of a story, but you will control the details of that story to make it your own.
Yeah, I mean, we give a lot of people. I mean, I don't want to call it complete creative control, but we do give people a lot of leeway with their stories. And basically, to sum up what he was saying a moment ago, Donald was saying. So with all these guys, let's use an example here. Say we put Money Mike in a rivalry against DTM, figuratively speaking. So we're building up a rivalry in this period of scenario, Money Mike and DTM. I mean, we have a direction in which we want it to go. Usually 2 different routes depending on the sim result. But promo-wise, like cutscenes, like you can go to Donald or myself, whoever. Like to throw out ideas about cutscenes. Like you'd be like, hey, what if we did this during the show to enhance the rivalry? Stuff like that can always be thrown out as well.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
So you put stuff like that. I mean, like if you want to do that, I mean, hell, here's how I see it, and I don't know how Donald Roy sees it, but just if you're open like to ideas, and
Speak of the devil. Money Mike in the chat.
So if you're throwing out,
Greatness has arrived.
Money Mike is like the field of dreams. Build it, he will come. But either way, so
you're live with the money, he says.
You live with the money.
Either way, so figuratively speaking, yeah, that's what we're talking about. But here's how I see it: if someone is paying attention to their storylines and they want to throw out ideas, to me, even if it's not the best idea, it goes to show that you care and that you're active and that you're invested. So, I mean, even, like, you're throwing out ideas for your character, your stories and stuff, it goes to show that you care, and that kind of stuff goes a long way. So please, if you have ideas, throw them out. We're not going to shut you down left and right.
Oh yeah, I mean, and if I can say my piece kind of on that matter, and I think you guys pretty much hit the nail right on the head with it. The thing is, like, don't be afraid to talk to management. Don't be afraid to shoot your ideas out there, because at the end of the day, this is a damn story, and you can be the author of it. And so you gotta, like what Hayden just said, if you want something to be done, just because you're not in the ideal spot now, don't mean you can't be in the next spot next month or next week. And essentially it's just be active with your promos, be active with the ideas that you shoot and everything. Keep track of your wins and your losses, and just make, because it's not just a story like that we're trying to tell, it's a story you're trying to tell. If your guy wins the match, if a guy loses the match, don't not post a promo because, oh, I lost. Make a story out of it, make it important, make people invested in you, and that's going to make management invested in you, and you're going to find that it really makes a difference. It really.
Good. You can finish, sorry.
Oh yeah, well, it's just that's pretty much my point right there. It's just, in EFED, from what I've seen, don't be shy, don't be afraid to ask, hey, I got an idea. Don't be afraid to, even if you're not competing on a show, you can still do your promos. You can still put yourself out there and make yourself known. And then I can tell you right now, that's going to draw people's attention, and they're going to want to see you.
Now, I am going to say this because I think it needs to be said, because I know it's probably going to be a question that somebody's going to ask, and just to answer the unasked question, I'm just going to throw it out there right now so people know. So if you're not currently involved in a big-time storyline, that does not, and I repeat, does not mean that you will not be booked. I mean, that's something I think that is important for people to know, though it is more story-driven now. I mean, we still have mid-card sim matches that really have no story, necessarily.
Just to showcase your talent.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So don't freak out thinking that because you're not currently in a story or you're not getting approached about things, it doesn't mean that you're not getting booked.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's the thing, don't panic, don't freak out if you're not being given a storyline, because that doesn't mean that you won't be on Warzone or you won't be on, a special, like if we ever do a fight night or a live event or whatever.
Yeah.
Or here's the thing. I will say this. So if you're not currently involved in a storyline, though, they're probably going to be a little more rare next season. Things like fight night and secondary shows, whatever, simply because of our schedules and just the way things are. All of us, mentally and physically. We're probably not doing much outside of Warzone and pay-per-views, but we still may occasionally have, other shows, still happen. So, when we have those and you're not in a storyline, yeah, you probably have a better chance of showing up on one of those events, because those are more, showcase shows. I mean, it might even come down to, the point where we may do, just an idea of it, throw out live, or maybe say a secondary show that happens maybe once a month or whatever, that is just designated to showcase people who aren't currently in a storyline. I mean, stuff like that could...
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I know I've said it a few times in this, but I'm going to say it again, because I think it needs to be made clear and clear as day. If you are not in a storyline, you can and probably will still get booked.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
For sure. But here's how I see this. I mean, what's the chances of everyone being in just one EFED? Everyone's always in multiple EFEDs, most likely. Whether it's one EFED, whether it's two EFED.
Nobody I know on our roster, except for maybe calls owned by yourself or Nick, are 3WA exclusive.
Yes. Oh no. That's how I see it. My bad, Andrew. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was just agreeing. I was just saying. I'll tell you right now that everybody out there is at least in multiple EFEDs from what I've seen and everything.
I know everyone likes... I know everyone likes to just shit on WWE and everything, and every other EFED, every other real-life promotion about not booking everyone, but it's an impossible task. It really is.
It is.
I mean,
and if you're in multiple places, you will be booked somewheres. You will have storylines somewheres. Just if you're not in this show for 1 or 2 weeks, doesn't mean you won't be booked, as he said.
I mean, as my grandfather used to tell me when I was younger, the only way you can please everyone is to give them all ice cream. I mean,
I think AEW already did that with CM Punk.
I was just saying that, that goes to another point. If you're unhappy with your spot on the card,
And come to us.
and you're active, and here's the thing. I will say this, and this is just rule of thumb for how I'm going to approach this. When talking to all of you, if you are not active or you do not show any sort of motivation, and then you come to us bitching about your spot on the card, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to help you. But let's say maybe you feel like you're being overlooked, and you put the work in when you're booked, or whatever. And then in that case, yeah, talk to us. But if you're inactive and stuff, that's a whole different scenario in itself. Matter of fact, so if you're unhappy with your position and you're inactive, let me put it this way. Not trying to sound like a dick, but that's your own fault.
Yeah. One thing I just want to kind of point out to that, like going off what you just said, this thing, whether it's EFED, PvP, Real Wrestling, whatever, Promo League, whatever, here's the thing. It is a two-way street. I've worked in administration, I've worked in management with EFEDs and PvPs, I've been a competitor, I've done everything. And at the end of the day, it is a two-way street. Alright? You can't just sit there and expect everything to be handed to you when you're not working for it. I've seen plenty of people come and go because they come in, they win a few matches, the next thing you know, they won the world title match, but just because they don't get it, or they post those one sentence long or one word promos. And to me, as somebody who has worked as both a competitor and in EFED and PvP, as well as somebody who's worked in management, that tells me, you just don't care about the product enough that you're on unless you're the star. And I personally, I am not a part of 3WA management, so I'm just pointing that out for the record. I am just a member of the roster and just a fan of the product and everything, but it really goes a long way, like what Hayden just said. What separates the active from the inactive? What separates the people who care from those who don't? And just like this is like an actual company, you have to look at it. If you're the guy that shows up on time, they bust their ass, they do their work, that's going to be the guy that gets promoted. That's going to be the guy that gets, treated better. But if you just laze around, you're late, you don't do anything, you show no motivation, then, you're going to get what you put into it. And if you put in nothing, then don't be surprised when you get nothing in return.
Yeah, now, again, to further upon this just a little bit further, again, if you do not put any work in and then you come to me, like I said, I'm not going to help. I'm here to help about anybody who needs it, for in-character or out-of-character reasons. My help, based off what I saw on everyone's public program, is not just limited to EFED related stuff. What I mean by that is, if you just need someone to talk to, you know what I'm saying, I'm here.
Oh yeah.
Just to make your time in 3WA a little easier, and that's not the only reason I talk to people. Just also because I truly, genuinely care about people, but that's just...
Of course.
But still, but regardless, it's just, if you want a spot on the show, and you're not getting that spot, and you're putting in the promos or whatever, then we'll talk. But I will say this, the only quote-unquote active people I wouldn't really help would be those who cut the shitty one-sentence promos. Now, I will say this for the record, because a lot of EFEDs are kind of dicks about this, and I'm not singling anyone out, but they know who they are. But a lot of EFEDs are dicks because they only, prefer one kind of promo style, or they want promos to be a certain quality. Here's the thing, okay? We understand here that not everybody promos equally. That's the thing, say I don't promo the same way Donald promos, or I don't promo the same way Andrew promos, you know what I mean? There's going to be those kind of differences, and we know that those kind of differences are unavoidable, and I'll be right with you in just a moment, Nick. I'm going to finish us up here. Like I said, people are different with their own levels of promo ability, and should be treated as such, but not to the extent of say so and so is better at promoing than the other guy, I don't think that should always mean that the other person should be left in the dust and buried, because they're still active, they're still putting in the work. And if you ever need help with promos, character development, you know, whatever the case may be, things we've talked about on here before, if you need help with that, you know, I mean, there are resources here to help you. All you have to do is come to me. You know, I have experience, you know, working with people within promo leagues. I mean, I'm not the greatest to have ever done it by any stretch. I mean, I'm not the Iron Bison. I'm not Dylan Mason. I'm not Rob Rollman. I'm not, you know, any of those guys. But I am at least, you know, knowledgeable on how things work. So if you need like assistance in terms of character development or promos and you're on the roster, come to me. I mean, again, I've said this a million times on here. The talent relations thing is not just some storyline title. It's not. You can come to me for literally anything EFED related or OOC related, and I'll help you. That's what I do. I am here to help you. I mean, because I know. Yeah. We're just talking about. Right now, we're talking about just the changes in 3WA. You know, things you already know about. But I mean, here's the thing. Maybe it's a weakness, or maybe it's a strength. It depends on how you look at it. But I'm one of those people who cares about other people, maybe a little too much. So, I mean, that's why I like to do these kind of things. Like, my character may be the biggest dick you'll ever meet. I mean, but that doesn't mean that I'm a real-life dick. I mean, I am not a real-life dick, despite what these people who have worked with me out of character may say.
Oh.
But regardless, I mean, I'm not going to be... Here, let's use an example. Someone messaged me, hey, I want to push because I'm putting in the promo work and stuff. I'm not just going to say, well, suck it up, you fucking peasant, learn to get better and get on my level. Wait, you can't get on my level because I'm better than you. You know, I mean...
And you know it.
I mean, but regardless. So, I mean... Yeah, I've noticed it a million times. Come to me, come to Donald, or if you're from NGW, come to Nick, you know. I mean, I'm here
Don't
to
bother me. I'm not going to help you. Don't bother me.
Yeah, don't go to Andrew. Don't go to Andrew.
They don't
Stay
call
out
me
of
the villain
Andrew's
for
window.
nothing. So go fuck yourself.
I mean, don't go to Andrew because, well, the advice Andrew would give you may lead to bodily harm and or death. But...
But hey, at least that will get people to notice you and give you your 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and I like you
Andrew,
too.
But, oh, well, get a room, you two.
Oh, shut the hell up.
So either way, well, I guess we should, Donald, if you have no...
And his mic cut off, so I'm going to continue.
No, sorry, my mic cut off because it came unplugged. Go ahead. We'll get into the non-EFED related stuff.
Well, I'm going to finish off the rest of the 3WA's stuff about...
well, of course. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off and go forever.
You're good. You're good. Well, I just wanted to say, from more quality, long-term storytelling, you do control the narrative of the story, where we try to give you an outline of that story. So, as you know, 3WA's is a SIM EFED, but we're going to be making a little bit of changes. Well, so, say you're in a rivalry or a long-term storytelling with two people. If those two people agree on something, there may be a match or two that is fixed. But I just want to make it clear that there will be no title matches fixed at all.
Agreed.
Just to be fair.
Yeah, not even with an agreement. That's just something I was saying.
Yeah. It. Go right ahead.
As long as it's not all the time.
Agreed.
I agree.
Yeah.
I did have an idea about that though. I thought about what if someone hypothetically gets like, attacked beforehand or injured? Wouldn't it make sense to lower the overall?
It's still like an injury. Yeah.
Yeah, to sell the injury.
Or maybe like use custom matches and lower the health. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. Oh, I got it. Injury.
Now, see, I will agree with that to an extent. I will say I have known some EFEDs to say if just hypothetically speaking, if Andrew Webb was making his debut and we wanted to make him look like a beast, I have heard of some leagues that will download characters and lower their overall so it can kind of look more like a squash match to build a story to make them look good. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I've thrown out the idea before of like, I mean, not to Nick, but I've thrown it out to Donald for 3WA. But I have thrown out the idea of downloading or creating, and how to use the term in parentheses, enhancement talent calls, like calls that will show up on Warzone with the sole purpose of losing to somebody. That's the only reason they show up, like, is to lose, like they are to never win.
And I can understand it.
Kind of like a Barry Horowitz or a Brooklyn Brawler, like thing. I mean, but I mean, like, it's just an idea I've thrown up because, like I said, that's something that, like Andrew said, a lot of people have done, and it's worked very well for them in terms of storytelling. I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ed.
No, you're good. You didn't cut me off.
Well, the main thing that I was gonna say, kind of with that idea, is I'm a person where I'm neither for nor against it. What I am is I'm a guy with moderation. As a viewer, as a EFED competitor, as a viewer, I don't want to tune in every single week and see predetermined matches. If I wanted to do that, I would waste 3 hours of my life watching Raw, okay? And I'm not going to be doing that shit. And so I like to see, because that's what I love more about these SIM EFEDs. It's you never know what's going to happen. You could have the 3-time world champion get squashed by a guy who's lost 60 matches in a row. You never know. But if you get too much predetermination in it, or if you start fiddling with the matches too much, or you start bringing in way too much enhancement talent, doing this or that, it can... Exactly, and not only do you take the fun out of it, but you can really start to devalue not just somebody who you're trying to make into a potential star, but of the product itself. So I'm fine if it's done occasionally and if it fits the narrative, but if it's something that's just like, oh, we don't have anything for DTM this week, or we don't have anything for Andrew Webb this week, so what we're going to do is we're just going to download some random Joe
Or
Schmo
create
lowers overall,
someone.
yeah, and just lower their overall down to 75 and put all their body parts on red just to make it look like a squash match. I'm like, that devalues it, and I can't get behind that every single week. Oh, yeah.
First off, why are you getting your talent off?
Get your mind out the gutter. Yeah. Yeah. No, of course.
Hello, Candy Vega. I was just saying hello to Candy Vega in the chat.
Hi, Candy Vega. Welcome to the shit show.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, yeah, I agree completely. Because... No, see, I agree 100%. Because just as Donald himself said, we got 50 active competitors on the roster, singles, tag team, women's, all that stuff. And he just said not everybody's going to be booked on every single show. And imagine how it would be that you were on this limited roster, and even still, instead of you getting booked on a spot, your character getting booked on the spot, it's just some random guy that gets squashed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Promos or whatever.
Or, I'm not trying to interrupt you, Nick or Hell. In some instances, you can maybe even work something out to maybe join a match or two on commentary. I mean, I'm pretty sure Nick wouldn't be opposed to people letting people on commentary for stories.
Yeah, it is.
Or if you say Sandra Cool, who's in a way different time zone than either of us. I mean,
Keep him off commentary.
Planet Netherlands. Like I said, it's like almost maybe like 2 or 3 in the morning there right now, at the time of recording this. Yeah, it's about 2:50, almost 3 o'clock at the time of recording this.
You book old school with modern. No, I understand. You're a. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Aside from commentary, that is. Is anyone talking? I don't think they can hear us.
Hmm. Let me see this real quick. Hold on.
Unless,
I can hear you guys just fine. I just turned the volume up on my
So
phone.
you can hear me too?
Yeah, I can hear you too.
I can hear you guys just fine. I just turned the volume up on my phone.
Yeah.
I can hear you too.
Alright, so I don't know what Mad Dog's hearing.
Mad Dog says he can only hear Andrew.
Now he says he can hear CFT.
I think you need a new phone, Mad Dog.
Did you fix your party settings?
That's a good question.
Nick, go to the party menu, okay?
Oh man, nobody's been hearing him the whole time.
I mean,
I don't know about that. Just, guys, give me a second here. So go to the party menu. You know where the menu is to see the party, right? The way you joined here.
Yeah. Okay.
So go there, and there'll be a thing on the right-hand side that says Party Settings. Let me know when you see that.
Shit. And by the way, give me 1 second. I gotta pop off just for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Do you see that, Nick? Go tap it, go over to it, and there'll be a thing that says go to Party Settings, like in the party menu. Go to, allow your voice to be shared. What's it say?
There's little 3 things to click. No. Go. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, always allow?
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
Those little boxes. Click all those.
Well, that's why I couldn't be heard. So you mean tell me the whole time I've been talking, nobody heard me?
Yep.
Should it be fixed now, though? Question mark.
Mad Dog. Before you get a new phone, see if you can hear Nick.
Man.
Here, I'll put the stream on here real quick, see if I can hear it.
Well, that sucks.
Now Nick can be heard. Nick can be heard now.
Dude, I just
heard
explained all
it.
that for nothing.
Yep.
Well,
Well, not really. At least Andrew knows what I'm about now.
Well, let me put it to you this way, Nick, and I think you know this. A lot of the stuff you've talked about the NGW you've covered before.
Oh, really?
You don't remember it? You mean you've talked about stuff quite a few times?
Yeah, but Andrew wasn't with us then.
No, but that's just one person of like several who have heard of it.
Oh, okay. Well,
So you can hop in here too, Mad Dog, if you feel like shit.
I mean, we're not trying to isolate you from the chat.
Nah, Bad Dog, go to your cage.
No, actually, I think he got up earlier, Donald, because he was playing Call of Duty or something. But
but I can't stay
way,
out for long, guys. I got to put my kids to bed, so.
Well, either way, Donald, I think that, at least for my thing, it's pretty much it, right, with the 3WA thing?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Either way, I guess we can get to the...
unless you want to announce a few people that we signed.
Am I allowed to?
Go ahead.
So, I'm only going to name 2 for now, but 2 people have been signed, no, more than 2, but 2 I can tell you right now, we're still, now keep in mind, before the beginning of the next season, we may... What the fuck?
Welcome, Mad Dog.
We may potentially sign a couple other people, but the 2 people that we have signed that I will announce right now are IWA legend Nova Reese. Nova Reese has been in... yes, Andrew, I know you've immediately become a wreck by hearing the name Nova Reese. But either way, so... Yeah, so I was just talking about how we signed Nova Reese and how you're probably automatically a wreck by hearing the name.
No, sorry, I had to step away.
Like I said, just kind of explain some of their qualifications. Nova Reese, although Andrew will probably be able to put him over a little better than I could, talking about signing him and what qualifies him to be signed to this company. But before that, I will say this: he is a former IWA Universal Champion, former Riot World Champion there. I mean, he's won 2 Brands World titles, and not just limited to there. He's had some success in the PvP leagues, had some success, and probably some other sim feds. Andrew probably knows more about that than I do. But either way, I'll let you go ahead and give the rundown of, you know, your golden opportunity to put over Nova Reese and why it's a good thing that he was signed. There you go.
Well, see, the reason why it was good that Nova Reese was signed because we finally got some actual decent talent in 3WA from what I've seen.
Hey, fuck you.
Wait, time out.
I'm joking. So don't bite my throat out, Mad Dog. I don't want to be put in the muzzle.
Don't boo me, I'm right.
No, but the thing with Nova is this man is out of character, in character. It has to be one of the top guys I've had the privilege of knowing and working with for years. In PvP, in EFED, this man has literally done it all. He is the third ever Grand Slam champion of IWA, two-time IWA Hall of Famer. Everywhere that he has gone, people know who he is. In PvP, that man has conquered league after league. I was there by his side when we conquered leagues, tag team, world titles, Hall of Fames, you name it, this man has done it, and he has written the book on it. That is why he is the Nova Bomb, the Demi-Bomb himself, Nova Reese, and we are happy to have him in 3WA.
So I'm going to say this, I think goes without saying, but if you haven't seen Nova Reese before, you're in for a treat. Like I said, he's the newest signee to IWA dropping in, talking about IWA stuff, so IWA, like we just announced the signing of Nova Reese to 3WA. But either way, like I said, if you haven't seen him before, you're in for a treat.
Definitely.
But and, also, the second guy I want to announce the signing of, Gorilla Cruz. It's more of a return. But Gorilla Cruz back? Yeah, Gorilla Cruz is returning to 3WA after getting storyline fired, but he's back now. The statute of limitations has expired, and
new management.
New management, new image. I will say he is coming as a singles competitor. It is not the Guerrillas of War. It's just a solo run, and I'm just going to say this: a lot has changed for Gorilla since the last time you guys saw him. He's been doing he started to. Now this is for Nick. Who brought it up. Gorilla Mulligan, that's like kind of lit up. He's starting to do video promos and all that. He's starting to promo, and he's doing pretty good at that. And so yeah, just to give him a platform to get better and stuff. And he's getting lessons on promos from the Iron Price. He's getting better, and so I think 3WA will be a perfect place for a guy like Gorilla Cruz to, work on that. On top of that, I mean, he's got some recognition here for being a three-time tag team champion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
And one thing I just want to ask real quick, Mr. Head of Talent Relations, you forgot to mention one other new signee that was coming to 3WA.
Well, they knew about you.
Yeah, they knew about me, but I ain't getting my 15 minutes on the pedestal. Gorilla Cruz and Nova getting all the love over here. Am I just chopped liver to you?
Well, are we answering this truthfully or dishonestly?
I plead the fifth.
Exactly.
Which one? You always dishonest, so what's the difference?
I've never said anything with truth.
To be on.
Let's be honest here. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The two elephants in the room.
Well, to say, Andrew's ego is about as wide as an elephant.
Well, look, I'm just saying right now, if I wanted to commit suicide, I'd jump off fucking CFT's ego and straight down to DMT's fucking, I said DMT, my God. DTM.
DMT, why does that sound like the name of a motor bureau department?
Obviously, listen, I tried to bring it up, but the man left the chat because, I tried to acknowledge the fact that
the
man that was standing across from me was supposed to be facing me soon, because he thinks he's the best in the original Mad Dog. That's all.
Well,
you got the original versus the innovator.
So
we're going to see how it goes. The dogs of war are going to tear at each other.
So at the end of the day, he's not the original. Let's make that perfectly clear. He is a bit from the image of who I am. You know,
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is he hasn't done the things I've done, but he has done the things he's done. So I won't take that away from him. But when it's all said and done, when it all boils down to it, from the bell ring, from the time it starts to the time it rings again, only one man's hand will be raised. And that's mine.
Yeah,
Your current reigning and defending X-Division champion.
You know, I have one important question for you.
No one cares what you have to say.
No, actually, you do understand this is an OOC podcast.
I don't care. I'm being an asshole.
Well, I mean,
That's my gimmick, goddammit.
The only time Mad Dog get to be an asshole without worrying about the fans.
yeah.
Now, but what's up?
Yeah, so I'm just not doing any character stuff right now. But either way, so I guess we can get to the headlines, you could say, of shit going around in the wrestling world if you guys are ready for that.
Oh Lord, let me get my bottle of Jack Daniels.
Go get your rum and Coca-Cola.
No, I'm drinking Pepsi right now because Coca-Cola didn't want to sponsor me.
Here we go with our...
Be less white.
Yeah, here we go with our irrelevant, useless opinions on professional wrestling. Now, I'm going to say this because I told some people in NGW chat, a couple of chats earlier, that I'd have a lot to say about this. But I'm going to get right into it. The biggest headline today is Jeff Hardy being released by the WWE. Now, I am going to say this, okay? This is my opinion, and everything I am about to say is my opinion and merely a theory. There's no merit to it because we don't know anything. But I will say this. I do not think that it was drug-related. I honestly think
I don't think so at this time either.
No, I mean, I will say this. Because, I mean, the only reason people are saying, oh, it was drug-related is because of Jeff Hardy's past. Okay, that's the only reason why people are saying that. If Jeff Hardy did not have a known history for drugs, it'd be, oh, he just took his bomb and went home and quit. I mean, and I think that's what he did here. He was probably, and reasonably so, if I'm going to be honest with you, tired of the way WWE is being run. Well, see, I think it's important to understand the incident in question. It was at a WWE house show this past week, maybe it was this weekend. It was a six-man tag. I don't remember who was in it. I know Drew McIntyre was one of Jeff Hardy's partners. But either way, so they were getting ready for the six-man tag, and before the bell rung, Jeff Hardy literally walked through the crowd and left. Like, that's the incident in question. It happened in a live event, a house show, whatever. It wasn't televised, but he literally walked out and left. A lot of people are speculating that it is drug-related, and another reason why I don't think it's drug-related on top of everything else is the tweets from Jeff Hardy's wife and the tweets from Matt Hardy, both saying that he was fine. So honestly, I don't think it is drug-related, and I believe it was Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com who said it was drug-related, and I honestly think that's just Mr. Sapp jumping to conclusions about Jeff Hardy simply because of his past with drugs and stuff. And I will say this, everyone remembers when he was at his worst with the Victory Road incident. Kind of some callbacks to that, like, you know, like shit like this happening, and, you know, Jeff Hardy not really working to his fullest potential, you could say. Victory Road 2011, when they had to essentially screw him out of the match. Like, he was, like, legit out of character, drunk and high, and he was really, but
he was 50 Shades of fucked up, pretty much.
Yeah, at that point in time he was, and he was just damaged beyond repair at that point to a lot of people. But I mean, that's my thing. I do not think it was drug related. I mean, to me, what I think it is some sort of protest against WWE and his way of up and quitting. And I mean, sometimes you have to say, I mean, sometimes to get things done, you have to take, you know, matters in your own hands. And honestly, I think that's what he did. He was just tired of WWE, tired of the way he was being treated. Like, he was, I mean, let's be real here. He was not really being treated as the star that he really is.
Now, see,
he was being treated, in my mind, he was being treated like dirt, and he didn't really deserve that. It's Jeff freaking Hardy, after all.
No, see, I agree with that to an extent, but at the same time, and I hate saying it because this man has faced demons beyond anybody could even comprehend, but at the same time, he's, let's face it, he's kind of put himself in that position over the years. Now I'm not trying to say anything bad about Jeff Hardy. The man's a legend, and I love him to death, but, just like you said, Victory Road 2011, countless other times, that's why you can't strap the rocket to his back and shoot.
For drug charges,
Yeah, and it's just like no matter how much I like you, business, I have to know personal and professional life have to be split, and professionally, if you are this guy who keeps getting DUIs and drug charges and going to rehab time and time again, how can I strap the rocket to your back and shoot you to the sky?
Yeah, this is true. Now, Donald, if you're here, your thoughts on it?
I think Donald may have stepped away for a second, but I do actually have my own little theory about this. And it might sound like a bit of a conspiracy. I'm not trying to sound like Sami Zayn out here with conspiracies and stuff, but the thing is, from what I've noticed, is something that a lot of you may recall. A few weeks ago, Jeff Hardy released something online saying that he wanted to do another reunion with Matt Hardy, and he didn't care what company it was. And leading up to that, in the weeks, Matt Hardy and AEW has slowly but surely getting rid of the big money Matt Hardy gimmick. And then suddenly, Jeff Hardy now just suddenly he walks off from the live event. It's about drugs, it's not about drugs, but regardless, I can't answer that question. But every time in the past that he has had something drug related, he has always done rehab, and now this time he's not doing rehab. And so now he gets released, and so I'm thinking it may have been a ploy from AEW and the Hardys to basically just be like, it's instant termination if you refuse rehab for a drug problem, and as soon as he gets released or has been released, once his non-compete runs out, he's going to show up right on AEW and he can be with Matt Hardy, no strings attached. So I think this was kind of a bit of a ruse that they put up that kind of, get around the system, do all that stuff. And that's my theory, because as you said, Hayden, as you pointed out, both Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy's wife, Beth, both pointed out the fact that, he's fine. He's good. That doesn't sound like he was good and fine when he walked off in the live event. That doesn't sound like a guy who's on drugs and alcohol. That sounds like a guy who just got sick and tired of it and wanted an easy way out of it.
And he found a way.
Yeah, and again, I'm not judging the guy, because facts are facts. WWE nowadays is just sad, and it's not the be all end all anymore. And if you take a legend like Jeff Hardy,
for a while, really.
Yeah, and if you take a guy like Jeff Hardy and you do that, then honest to God, I don't blame him, because you let go of top. What's up?
No, I will say this. I don't think Jeff did that as a publicity thing.
Oh, no.
I don't think he did it just to be like, I'm going to embarrass the company or whatever. No, I don't think that was at all what he was going for. He was just going for, like, I'm going to do what's making me happy. And honestly, I think if he really wanted to make a big deal out of it and really cause, publicity issues, he could have done it on Raw or SmackDown or,
Exactly.
If he was really hell-bent on making a publicity stunt out of it, I think he did a live event because he knew it wasn't on TV. More of a respect thing, And
yeah, I think that it is what it is, because despite everything people want to say about Jeff Hardy, the one thing that I have known about him is he is a man of this business. He cares about this business. If he didn't, he wouldn't have lied about his age as a minor to debut in WWF on in live shows. If he didn't care about this business. Yeah, this is somebody who truly loves this business so much, but you got to understand, when you reach your limit, as Popeye the Sailor Man said, that's all I can stand, because I can't stand no more. And so you kind of just, this isn't him taking his ball and going home. This is what he wanted to do. And you keep booking him to lose to Austin Theory, to Karrion Kross, and then they're just doing all this shit. This guy's a multi-time world champion, Grand Slam champion, and next thing you know, he's jobbing out.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're going to be booking him like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm more surprised he didn't do this sooner.
I'm reading here, Sean Ross Sapp continuing his, tangent about drugs, and again, no one should be jumping to this conclusion about drugs. I mean, and Sean Ross Sapp from Bible.com can go suck a dick, you know what I'm saying? I mean, for one, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. None of these insiders completely know everything, even if they think they do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now let me put it this way. According to this, they are saying that the plan was actually to do, possibly as soon as the Royal Rumble, a feud between Roman Reigns and Jeff Hardy for the title. I mean, let's be real, that would have probably been a one-side squash in favor of Reigns. But,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd really want that, as a sort of talent point of view, like, do I really just want to be another step?
No, I agree 100%. I mean, personally... Oh, it's no problem. But what I think needs to be done with Jeff Hardy is, I hate saying it, but this business is killing him. It honest to God is. There should be... It's like almost every few years, he is always... There's something drugs or alcohol or something related.
He's in the news for something, yeah.
Yeah, and my thing is... the thing that I think he needs to do that would be best, let him go to AEW, let him do his final run with Matt Hardy, whether it's a few months, 6 months, a year, whatever. But once it's done, call it quits.
I think he'll phase himself out of the picture afterwards.
Yeah, I think what he wants to do is he wants to give one last big money run, no pun intended, to the Matt Hardy gimmick. He wants to do one last big money run with the Hardys, and then he wants to leave. And he knew for a fact that, due to the fact that Matt Hardy went to AEW, he most likely would never be allowed in WWE ever again. So, that's why he said a few weeks ago, I want to reunite with Matt, and I just don't care where I go.
Honestly, I think he was just hinting that he was going to do it. Or hinting at his intentions.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, I mean, I don't blame the guy one little bit. You can only do so much with a guy that is like Jeff Hardy, and we put a tag title on him, then suddenly he's in like the lower card. Oh, he's U.S. champion now. Then he's on the the lower card. Then he's feuding with, getting squashed by Roman Reigns or something like that. And it's like this guy has more changes in the card than Big Show had with face and heel turns in the last few years, and it's just utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I hate seeing Jeff Hardy fall apart like this. But, I mean, we don't really know why he did what he did. We can have our theories, we can have our speculation, but we won't know. The only person who I think completely knows what happened there is Jeff. And Jeff Hardy's always been known to be an open book when it comes to his stance on things, so I wouldn't be surprised if sooner rather than later Jeff Hardy comes out and talks about why he did it.
No, I agree. And I mean, honest to God, it's just like the Alex Riley, John Cena story. That is his story to tell. And and I'm not trying to get off topic with this, but one kind of thing that has always annoyed me about the pro wrestling fan base in general is this idea that the fans think that they are entitled to know what's going on in the personal lives of these superstars. Male or female, tag team, singles, it doesn't matter. I have seen and heard so many stories about how, like a superstar or something, whether it's drugs, a death in the family, an injury or something, they always want to know what's going on in the day-to-day life of these superstars. They will invade these people's privacy. They will just do all this stuff, and they need to understand that superstars are humans too. They have their lives, they have their successes, their ups, their downs, they make mistakes.
This doesn't just go for wrestlers, this goes for any celebrity, really.
Exactly.
Like, this is not just a wrestling thing, this is just a famous people thing,
Exactly. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that for everybody, because the fact of the matter is there are some people out there, because I'm the type of person, I like my privacy. I like, if I was a real wrestler or just the regular guy I am myself, I like my privacy. But at the same time, there are a lot of people out there who like to put their stuff out online, on video, on social media, and do all that stuff.
And that's their own decision.
Yeah, but at the same time, again, it's a two-way street. It's a double-edged sword. If you want to put that out there, don't be surprised if, somebody is trying to, invade your personal space and say, I want to enjoy my privacy. Then don't be posting pictures of your 6 kids and your home address and your car's license plate and
your social security number.
Exactly. Don't be surprised. You have to be smart with this. You have to know what's going on. And if we go back to the Jeff Hardy thing, if he wants to come out and say this is what happened, he can come out and say it. If he doesn't want to come out and say it, then I'm pretty sure he will, because he is that type of guy. He's very open with his fans. He's never been known to be like a dick to people
or a liar.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, if he doesn't want to tell it, he doesn't have to tell it. And I just want people to respect that decision if and when it happens, because I don't want people thinking, oh, this guy's a deadbeat drug addict and a drunk. You have no idea what this guy's gone through in his life. Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't demand answers to questions that he's not ready to answer yet. So that's really all I got to say on that matter.
Yeah, Donald, are you back yet?
Yeah, I'm back.
So, what are your thoughts on the whole Jeff Hardy thing?
I really didn't read too much into it, honestly. I was kind of
I know, but still in general, about Jeff Hardy. Don't have to be just about this. In general.
He's recently said he wants to end off his career with his brother. And
That's what we're talking about.
And now this happens.
So
yeah.
You don't think that's a coincidence?
It could be. It could be drug related. It could be fucking anything, honestly.
That's exactly
we were
how I
talking
pointed
about
out.
how we didn't think it was drug related.
It's possible. It's not impossible.
I don't think it's impossible. I'm just saying I don't think it is.
Thing is, we don't know.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
So is there
no one knows, and what I was talking about is I think it, but I will say this, I think you would agree with me on it, Donald. I still think regardless it's wrong for people to jump to conclusions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I agree.
So if we don't know, it's as simple as that. If we knew, like this guy from Fightful.com, Sean Ross Sapp, he keeps saying it's drug related, but yet Matt and his wife said that he's fine. So there are definitely contradicting stories here.
Oh.
With no clear and concise answer.
There's always 3 sides to every story. Their side,
Exactly.
another side, and the truth.
Exactly. And and what I was telling, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but just to reiterate it since you were away, the thing that I was telling, Donald Hayden, is the simple fact that if Jeff wants to come out and say his side of the story, he's going to come out and say it. But I don't think he should be badgered, because here's the thing, he does not owe the fans anything.
Oh, no.
He has put his
Don, while you're out, we were talking about how essentially we feel as if wrestlers and celebrities in general are still entitled to their own privacy and personal life.
Yeah. And fans just need to understand and respect that, but they have a hard time doing that. And so...
especially during times like this.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong, I understand his release was very sudden, so obviously people are confused, they don't know what's going on, but at the same time, it's, for the last few weeks, I kinda, saw the writing on the walls. I kinda had an idea. Yeah, I'm just saying, look, if somebody like Bray Wyatt and, Braun Strowman and Keith Lee get released, I was thinking Jeff Hardy was probably going to be on the next list of budget cuts that come through. Yeah. So,
I'm not surprised. I'm really not. That it happened. Honestly, I'm surprised with Jeff Hardy it didn't happen sooner. With the whole
of course.
But so, Don, what I was trying to tell you is, before this whole thing, and I was talking to everyone else about it on stream and Andrew, it was reported that Jeff Hardy was supposed to get a match as soon as the Royal Rumble against Roman for the title, but I think we all know how it would have ended.
Oh yeah.
But another thing, and this is more for you, Donald. Now we got the Jeff Hardy thing out of the way, got our stance on the matter. Basically sum it up. We don't know what happened. Nobody's jumping conclusions about what happened simply because of what one wrestling source said compared to the man's family. But
but the only thing I just want to point out real quick, despite everything that's been said, I do wish the absolute best of luck to Jeff Hardy and to Matt Hardy and to his family. And you know, as somebody who has had a family member who has gone through a serious drug addiction, I do understand somewhat of what he is going through, and so therefore I wish him the best.
Addiction is a bad trait in my family, so I'm the same way. It is genetic to an extent, the tendency to get addicted. So I mean, a lot of people in my family have wound up with addiction issues. I'm not going to be specific about who, just for the sake of my own privacy, but you get my point. I mean,
yeah.
So I mean, I know firsthand what addiction does to people, and I mean, this may sound pessimistic when it comes to my thoughts on addicts, but I think we can maybe to an extent agree on this. Once an addict, always an addict.
More or less. I mean for what I've seen.
Let's just be real. I mean, there's always going to be the urge to do it, and 9 times out of 10, people, even if they go to rehab, even if they try to clean up, the slightest temptation can trigger them off and then back to fucking square one.
Exactly, and I mean, I do have a little bit more to say on this whole Jeff Hardy thing, but I think it's kind of best if we just keep it where it is as of now, because like we said, we're still getting more questions than answers at this point, so I think it's best.
Maybe come next episode we'll have maybe more information, but until then, we're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But, now another thing, and this is more of something that Donald was talking to me about earlier on PlayStation morning when we were talking, and whatever. But the one thing Donald here wanted to talk about, it's something that, about a week old at this point, but we haven't done anything in a while, so we wanted to talk about it. And that is the confrontation on Dynamite, not this week, but last week, between CM Punk and MJF. Because, it was one of those promo battles. They went almost 18 to 20 minutes, nearly.
Mostly with MJF talking.
Yeah, and it was just MJF tearing CM Punk a new ass. But when CM Punk talked, I mean, he held his own with MJF. But still, it just, to me, before Donald gets to this, because I know you're going to have plenty to say on it, honestly, to me, it is a testament to the greatness of MJF. Because I think not only is it a testament to MJF, it is a testament to the ability of CM Punk, and proves that he can still, at least on the mic, hang with the more verbally dominant. But Donald, I'll let you say your piece.
I mean, if you need to think for a second, I can give my piece.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
find words to describe it.
One thing that I do remember of his promo, there is a couple things I want to point out. MJF, from what I've seen, especially at that promo, because I watched it live when that happened, he's not bad. He's really good. I can see why people are high on MJF. But my thing was, he just took it, and I don't mean too far, like, oh god, he's being too controversial. I mean, he took it too long. It's like, I could tell that this was just like, at this point, you're just trying to kill time. Because CM Punk had just finished his match, and then MJF came out, and as Hayden said, the promo was 15, 16, 17 minutes long, and he did most of the talking. And this wasn't like oh my god, he's on fire, he's going to keep shooting stuff. he was stuttering a little bit, trying to think of stuff. He said
Voice
some
cracked a few times.
yeah, and he said some random thing about like CM Punk trying to get into Britt Baker's pants. Like I'm not sure if that was like a story they tried running in AEW in like the week previous or something, but I had never heard of that story.
I mean, I will say this. When MJF started to fall apart, CM Punk definitely picked up the scraps by calling him a less famous Miz.
Oh, he did. Oh,
yeah.
Actually, by any chance, are we talking about that promo or the one that they had a couple weeks ago?
That promo.
Okay, then my bad. No. So I thought we were talking about the one where he said
We're
that
talking about the
CM
promo
Punk...
battle between MJF and CM Punk, where
Okay,
MJF
I got you.
tore into CM Punk, for his UFC record, his rivalry with John Cena and Triple H.
Okay, I got you. I thought you were talking about the one where they talked about the CM Punk wanted to get into Britt Baker's pants. So I retract my statement. My bad.
But I don't think it was... I mean, it may have felt a little dragged out, but I do think sometimes MJF tries to overdo it.
Yeah, I
mean... There's
mean...
an extent to this stuff. I mean, he's a good heel, he's good at promos, I'm not denying. I'm just saying he needs to learn he has limits.
Yeah.
He needs to learn what those limits are. I mean, everyone has limits when it comes to promo ability, whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, how many people in EFED, I mean, I know this may be interesting, and EFED's not, real wrestling either. I mean, but how many people in EFED could cut let me use some keywords here, coherent and, how do I put it, a promo that is not dragged out, like, in 18 minutes.
See, now that right there is a bit of an art, because when it comes, I understand a little bit because point out facts. You want to do this, you want to have a certain delivery and attitude with it, and so next thing you know, you want a 3-minute promo, next thing you know, it's 7 or 8 minutes long. So I do understand that there are some issues like that, but I do agree that there are some people out there who take it way too long, way too far. They're kind of all over the place. They need to learn how to, instead of having a multi-part promo, they have to keep it singular, and they have to know where they're going and what point they're trying to hammer across. So I think that's something a lot of people need to try to work on.
Alright, so, Donald, have you gathered any thoughts? I mean, let me just put it, like, overall, I mean, let me ask something else. Overall, what were your thoughts on the MJF CM Punk promo? Like, what did you like about it?
Oh man, this was like, what? This had to be over a week ago, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I know you wanted to talk about it.
Honestly, just the shots to take and it kind of threw me off when he said the Miz's name.
Yeah, like, I didn't know he was allowed to do that.
That's what I'm saying. And then took shots at John Cena, Hustler to Respect, the King of Kings, Triple H, And then there's the line that CM Punk said at the end that constantly killed MJF about him being the best. He'd have to wait for Tony Khan to have a daughter and marry into the family. That honestly just killed it.
So, I mean, CM Punk did not talk much in this promo.
Oh no, but he did say spoke violence.
He did.
I mean, MJF, it was like about an 18-minute promo, and maybe CM Punk, talked maybe like 2 out of those 18 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, probably. I mean, also, one of the other things he said is he thought MJF stood for my jealous fan.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this, like, from what I saw with that promo between Punk and I said CFT, my God. MJF. So many people have.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I could not go 18 minutes on CM Punk. Okay?
No, I know. I mean, but see, my thing is what I like to see is there's a quote, like, that was the perfect example of a talented amateur going up against a trained professional. That is what I'm saying, because MJF, he's young, and, because AEW seems to be the first major stage that you've seen MJF on. And so he's good at what he does, and I can tell you after a few years he's going to be possibly one of, if not the top heel of the business nowadays. But that was the thing.
Nearly there.
Yes, and my thing is this: out of 18 minutes, here's the thing: out of 18 minutes, he had 16 minutes to talk, but in just the 2 minutes that CM Punk was given, he sparred with MJF. He was able to hold his own and even had his own quick jabs in there. That is literally the embodiment. Like, you can visually see the experience levels between two of them. Somebody who's been doing this for a few years compared to somebody who's made a career out of this. And so that's something that I like seeing. And and sometimes, a few words are better than a whole fucking speech. And that's what I was seeing between CM Punk and MJF.
Yeah, and I really noticed that. But another thing here, was wanting to talk about. Let's see here, kind of got a little bit of itinerary per se. And that is actually one thing I wanted to talk about. Now, neither of you two probably really know much about it, so I'll probably do the brunt of the talking here. But I wanted to address the death of Blackjack Lanza. He passed away either yesterday or the day before. It was confirmed by Jim Ross on his social media. Blackjack Lanza is part of the Blackjack's tag team with Blackjack Mulligan, who's also since passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Blackjack Mulligan is the grandfather of Bray Wyatt and the dad of Barry Windham, and so there's it's like, though his dad, Bray Wyatt's dad, is Mike Rotunda, there's still the relationship with Barry Windham by marriage. It still was like his grandpa or whatever. So either way, Blackjack Mulligan's been gone for almost about 4 or 5 years now. But Lanza passed away, and Blackjack Lanza was one of the biggest acts in the AWA territory, especially back in the 70s and maybe like very, very early 80s. But he started way before that in there was the Indianapolis territory in the mid to late 60s. Matter of fact, he was one of Bobby the Brain Heenan's first clients that he ever managed. Yeah. And Bobby Heenan actually grew a mustache for that. I know you don't really associate Bobby Heenan with growing a mustache. I mean, that's something that he did for the thing he did with Lanza. This is before Mulligan's. Blackjack Lanza was a solo act before he was a tag team act, and then they put him with Mulligan, and they became the Blackjacks. Yeah. Became one of the greatest tag teams of all time, in my opinion. I know, Donald, you're not a real big old school wrestling fan. You haven't really seen much of the real old school stuff, but just, if you ever get a chance, just go back and watch the Blackjacks. These two guys are fucking tough as nails, unstoppable, you know what I'm saying? Aggressive, violent, both of them could tell a story, both of them could promo. It wasn't one carrying the other in terms of promo ability. I mean, they didn't need, they had Heenan, a couple times, but did they need him? No. He, especially Jack Lanza, he was a more effective heel than he was a face. Mulligan was a way better face. I mean, they worked well when they were a heel tandem, but when they went by themselves as well, it was just as magical. Blackjack Mulligan in the 80s went back to the WWF. He had worked for Vince Sr. in the WWF, but Blackjack Mulligan, like I said, he went back in the mid to late 80s as a face. He was a big attraction there. Before that, he was doing a singles run in Jim Crockett Promotions in, I believe, starting 82, 83. He was a face for most of it, and like I said, it was all pretty good. And after that, Blackjack Lanza, I mean, I'm reading it right here on my phone through the internet, but after that, he took on a job in the WWF at the time in the 80s, and worked there until the early 2000s, as a behind the scenes road agent, producer, whatever he's needed for. Yeah. And so yeah, he, as you can tell, he definitely had long career in the ring. And even outside of the ring, just a guy who basically gave his entire, basically adult life to wrestling. I mean, think about it. From the 60s to the 2000s, basically, you know, the time he was active. Also, he's a WWE Hall of Famer. I forgot to mention that. But I mean, that's 40 years of your life. And, you know, I mean, that's quite a long time to be in the business.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking about, like I said, I don't know how old he was when he started wrestling, but I mean, he was there for a very long time. I mean, you think about tag teams, though. I mean, you think about one of the tag teams that cross a lot of people's minds are the Blackjacks. I mean, you know, these muscular, tall guys. I mean, with the fucking cowboy hats, like wearing all black. You know, I mean. That's the kind of shit you think of when you think of the Blackjacks. There'll never be another tag team like them, like their impact, their legitimate toughness. Like, there'll just never be another Blackjack. And they tried it in, like, the late 90s with Barry Windham and Bradshaw, and the only reason they used Barry Windham was because of his relationship with, you know, Mulligan, with him being Mulligan's son. It just didn't work out well. Honestly, I think they would have been a great tag team if they were not given the Blackjack gimmick. Like, they were two great wrestlers. They didn't need the Blackjack gimmick, but they were given the Blackjack gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, you put Barry Windham and Bradshaw, aka JBL, together. Those are two beefy, strong, talented motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah.
Again, sorry for cursing her, but I mean, but either way, to kind of make the long story short, rest in peace to Blackjack Lanza. He'll definitely be missed. One of the guys that you think of when you think of great tag team competitors. So, yeah, I mean, very underappreciated as a solo guy as well. So, there's that, but there's the next thing on the itinerary. Talk about Mulligan and his relationship with Bray Wyatt. So, talking about Bray Wyatt, WWE has just released a Fiend pop vinyl that is Christmas themed, making people speculate whether or not Bray Wyatt is returning to the WWE. It just got put up on Amazon and WWE Shop and all these places where you can buy wrestling merch for WWE.
Well, I mean, first off, Donald, would you like to respond to the Bray Wyatt's potential return, or would you like me to?
You can go ahead.
Well, see, with the potential of Bray Wyatt's return, in my opinion, I don't want to see him back in WWE, because he, just to me, that them releasing him in the peak of his Fiend gimmick run was just downright disrespectful. And as a professional, I would not put up with that. I was at the top, because this is somebody, Bray Wyatt, in my opinion, is one of the few people who I have never seen anybody start so low as Husky Harris, come all the way up to the top, get slapped back down to the bottom, come up to the top again, get slapped back down to the bottom, and so on and so forth, as many times as that guy has.
Yes, I mean, he went from Husky Harris to three-time world champion, you know.
Exactly, and on top of that, and when he came back with the Fiend, they had money. They had the legitimate new incarnation. I'm not saying, he's the next Kane or Undertaker, because he was the Fiend. He was Bray Wyatt. You had something that was money, and you just blew it up. You ruined it. And so if I was a professional like Bray Wyatt, I would say I am taking my business elsewhere. Because exactly, I can go somewhere. We were in the middle of a story, something that the fans were clinging to. They were sinking their teeth into it, and you just want to cast it away like that? So, I mean, if he comes back, I wish him the best of luck. I love him. I love his potential. I love everything that he's capable of. But WWE has shown they're willing to push him to the top, but they're also willing to immediately snatch it right away from him when he's at the peak of it.
Well, let's look at the Fiend character. I mean, it was probably the best starts to a story we had in a while.
Oh, it
Firefly
was.
Funhouse and him tearing through the roster. What killed it was Goldberg.
Yeah, oh yeah. Goldberg in Saudi Arabia, yeah.
I mean, that is what ended that entire thing.
Oh, it was.
That was literally the dirt onto. Yeah, it was literally the dirt that they buried him with. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And that is just another thing of just a pure backstage politics from old guys who have no right to be in the wrestling business anymore. I this might sound unpopular, but I am not a big fan of Goldberg. I never have, and I never
No,
will.
it's not an unpopular opinion. I'm not a real big Goldberg fan either.
Yeah.
I don't know how Donald feels about Goldberg, but I've never been a big Goldberg fan.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, the only time that I liked Goldberg was when he came back and did that one little match with Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series.
Well,
that was it. That should have been it.
Well, yeah, maybe you give him that Universal title. I think everything from him beating Brock to losing the Universal title back to Brock.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I know he beat Kevin Owens in between there, for the title. Honestly, I think after he lost to Brock at Mania, and into that feud, and
that should have been it.
That should have been it. Goldberg could have went home, and he could have accepted the Hall of Fame induction without wrestling again. He got it.
Exactly.
He could
Yeah.
have accepted the induction at being.
Yeah. I think that story they did with him and Brock Lesnar, perfect. It was beautiful. They had what I thought was one of the best matches that they could have had, which was literally just like a 3-minute slugfest of just spear after spear, F5, everything.
I mean, but let's just look at this though for a second. I mean, think about it. Goldberg, basically the build to this Mania match was that Goldberg was essentially the only guy who was undefeated over Brock Lesnar.
And he cemented it even further by squashing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series.
And then eliminating him from the Royal Rumble.
Exactly. So, I think that right there was WrestleMania, I forgot what number it was, WrestleMania fucking 30 billion.
33.
33. That should have been it. He should have been, okay.
Basically, that was the ultimate payoff. Brock Lesnar finally proved he could hang with Goldberg.
Yeah. And then on top of that, Goldberg was able to deliver a heavy-hitting match, because he's not a 5-star guy.
I mean, he gets bloated after just a few minutes.
Yeah, so if you want if you want a good match out of Goldberg, you're gonna have to make it like a 5-minute at max just slugfest, like signature moves and finishers and power moves left and frickin' right. And that's what we got with the Brock Lesnar Goldberg. But as soon as
probably something that only Lesnar could really provide. Goldberg.
Exactly. But once that was done, that should have been it. He should have left, but he kept coming back, especially for Saudi Arabia. And look at what happened.
The Undertaker match,
The Undertaker match. He squashed Bray Wyatt. He just... It
Drew
was
McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, he's come back to face.
Yeah, and it's just...
Here's the thing, it's tiresome. It really is. I mean, here's the thing. I'm basically coming to expect that every time that we get a new WWE champion on Raw, Goldberg's going to challenge him. I'm just waiting for him to come back and face Big E,
Yeah. I mean, hell...
here's the thing, Goldberg's, if you remember, they did the same story with him twice, and he came back and be like, I want to see what the WWE champion's made of. I'm like, yeah, that's something you don't need to run twice.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Honestly, do I think Goldberg even needed to do it with McIntyre? No.
Nope.
I mean, Goldberg... Also, we forgot the Dolph Ziggler match at SummerSlam.
That was the most random fucking thing they were building up for. Wasn't it like a Shawn Michaels return, and then suddenly it was just Goldberg. Oh, here's Goldberg.
Right?
Yeah, wrestling. I mean, we've seen some interesting things throughout the years involving Shawn Michaels. Like that one time he tag teamed with God and lost.
God. No pun.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, yeah. But still, Goldberg is being shoved down our throats. And that's why, it's true that a lot of people call him Oldberg. I mean, it's true. Because it's getting old.
It is. And I mean, my thing is look.
I don't want to see Goldberg anymore.
I don't. My thing is
I'm not trying to be a complaining person either. I mean, I know some people may say, oh, you're just closed-minded. It's like, no, it's not that. I mean, I think anyone in their right mind knows that Goldberg is just old news, and I mean,
Yeah.
again, to further reply your saying, he never was the best wrestler.
He
Matter of
wasn't.
fact, if we're gonna be real, this is my opinion. I think he is one of the worst wrestlers I have seen ever. Like when it comes to in-ring ability, his stamina, he just can't hold up. He
No,
cannot
I agree.
hang with anybody.
He can't.
Literally, he is put against guys that are going to carry him. And they've done this since WCW. They put him against these jobber guys like Hugh Morris and, you know, the list goes on. Raven, I believe, you know, just all the guys that Goldberg beat in that undefeated streak off of. These were guys they put, I mean, everyone that they put him against, for the most part, it was like strategical, essentially, because these are guys that Goldberg could hit all his shit on and, you know, and still look good and could make him look good, you know. And then he went on to face main event guys like DDP and Hogan and, you know,
The NWO
Nash,
and all that.
and he lost the title to Nash, and that's how the streak ended. So, I mean, if you ask me, Kevin Nash has never been the best either.
Oh no, to me Kevin Nash is the most overrated guy. He is garbage. He is terrible.
As Jim Cornette was saying one time when he was teaching Glenn Jacobs how to be, or AKA Kane, how to be fake Diesel. He basically FaceTime out the moves that he's like, basically all you need to know is the forearm, the big boot, the snake eyes, the jackknife, and the hair flip.
That's it.
I mean, I really can't think of anything else.
Exactly. And my thing is, honest to God, anybody can talk. Anybody, the two people watching this.
I challenge you, any of you guys, to find me a Kevin Nash match where he does not do things.
My thing is, what I want to challenge anybody in the chat or anybody who wants to come out and say it, find me any point when Diesel, Kevin Nash, Big Nash, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, was decent. And I mean by himself, not carried by Shawn Michaels, not carried by the NWO, I mean by him, or Triple H, I mean by himself as an independent wrestler. Because you want to know what he is? He was a overrated big guy. He was Great Khali back in the 80s and 90s. That's what he was. He could barely move. He was sluggish. He couldn't do anything. The only thing he had over the Great Khali was he could actually pick up his leg enough to do a fucking knee and a big boot. I mean,
the only reason the Diesel character was so big was because of how WWF pushed him. They had him beat Bob Backlund in 8 seconds for the title at Madison Square Garden.
Exactly. I mean,
I don't know if you know, especially at this point in time, Bob Backlund was kind of revered as one of these, you know, great legendary wrestlers from the New York territory. So you put him in Madison Square Garden, you know, the mecca of New England wrestling, against, you know, Diesel, and you have him beat Backlund in 8 seconds. That's going to turn heads, you know.
Yeah, that is definitely going to get some attention. And my thing is, and I'm not against the idea of, you know, if you're gonna push a guy like that, that's fine, because there have been multiple big guys who have done good. There have been I mean, hell, look at fucking Braun Strowman. Look at Big Show. Look at Mark Henry. Those 3 names right there, Mark Henry, Hall of Pain. That was one of his best gimmicks. Big Show, when he had these plenty of big feuds with these people. Kane, Undertaker, the list goes on. There are big guys who can do good things. But just because you're big doesn't mean you're good.
No, size definitely does not matter in terms of ring ability.
It does not. Look at people like Bret Hart. Look at people like Shawn Michaels. Those are the motherfuckers. Ric Flair. These are the motherfuckers that you were talking about years down the road, even when they're not wrestling. Look at people like Owen Hart. I hate bringing up his name because of obvious reasons, but Chris Benoit, he wasn't the biggest guy, but by God, he was a wrestling machine. Kurt Angle, not the biggest guy. Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, these were guys who were not the biggest, but by God, they are one of, if not the most talked about guys nowadays.
To this day, we still talk about it.
Exactly. You don't talk about, oh, hey, Donald, hey, Hayden, do you remember the great Khali was former world heavyweight champion? My God,
do you
I remember
how awesome Kevin Nash was. I mean, Kevin Nash. I think the reason why he wasn't put in more tag matches with Scott Hall, you know, besides the fact, I mean, they had the tag title run and stuff. But the only reason I don't think they put him in more tag matches with Scott Hall was because Scott Hall would out wrestle him every match.
Oh, he would.
Scott Hall is great. I mean, he's the complete opposite of Kevin Nash. Scott Hall is a great competitor, or at least he was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, great wrestler, great everything. I mean, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, whatever you call him, just best in one of the best of his time in his prime. Like, I mean, just go watch wrestle. I mean, some people talk about, you know, all the different matches he had. Like, just go watch WrestleMania 10, the ladder match. It is not overrated. It's one of the best ladder matches you ever see.
Oh no, I agree. He was a hell of a worker, especially if you put him with somebody who could match him. Oh, good
like
lord,
Shawn
you could
Michaels,
you could have a fantastic match out of that.
I mean, he's a great competitor, Scott Hall. And the NWO and stuff, if you ask me, mainly worked because of him.
Oh yeah, but similar to Jeff Hardy.
Scott Hall came up with a cross thing. Is that, yeah, well, actually, Scott Hall's addiction problems in WCW didn't come until a few years into the NWO, and by then NWO had already, you know, started to fade out.
Oh, I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about later on.
Well,
what happened was...
I would say, I mean, he's better now. If you remember, he cleaned up his act and DDP yoga and all that stuff. But there was a time there where, I mean, I think I speak for a lot of people. There was a time there where I honestly thought by now Scott Hall would have overdosed and died.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I don't think he would have overdosed. I think he would have had alcohol poisoning because he was more of a drunk than he was a drug addict.
I will say this, though. I do think that if it wasn't for DDP, both Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall would be dead.
Oh, most likely. Hell, look at what happened with look what happened with Vader. He was supposed to die years ago, but I know he's passed away. May he rest in peace. But he said DDP Yoga extended his life by several years.
I mean, DDP, if you ask me, is a hero.
Oh, he is. He is an unsung hero of the pro wrestling world, and honest to God,
I mean, honestly, they deserve he deserves like a freaking reward named after him, you know, for heroism, you know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he saved what, maybe like 4 or 5 different wrestlers' lives. That
hell, I'll tell you right now.
I'm sure it's not extended. You know, I'm sure it's not just limited to that. I mean, if you want to extend that further, then I think, I mean, I bet a lot of people would give DDP credit, you know, for helping them.
Oh yeah, hell, that guy. DDP,
yoga,
like I
it's
said,
not just the yoga. It's not just the yoga at all. I mean, it's just how he's willing to help people. You know, hell, I mean, you've seen the Jake the Snake documentary. He literally let Jake Roberts and Scott Hall live with him just so he could make sure they don't overdose.
Oh yeah.
Take too much drugs or drink too much. Like, if you remember, it was a controlled environment, and it was, you know, a place where he could stay and he could get better, and it was kind of,
it was a controlled environment.
You could say.
Yeah.
And you have, I mean, he's a great person, great friend, great, you know, everything for doing that.
Oh, he's fantastic.
I mean, I have nothing bad to say about DDP.
No, I personally, the only bad thing I've ever heard about DDP was his fucking booking in WWE outside, and that was nothing on him. Outside of that, it's been fucking fantastic with him.
I mean, DDP, I mean, great wrestler, great man. You know,
great, just great around.
He deserves a reward named after him in a Hall of Fame somewhere.
Yeah,
that is not an exaggeration. I truly think DDP deserves some sort of recognition like that. I mean, but Donald, are you familiar with any of the DDP stuff, like yoga or whatever?
I remember they had Awesome Kong who did it for a few years back, and she lost a lot of weight.
But either way, I mean, what are your thoughts on DDP?
Oh, that fucking DDP's just in general a good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, would you agree with our statement that he's essentially a hero? And, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, hell, I would never say no to DDP. You know, I mean, he helps people, and if you ask me, anyone who's willing to help people like he is, I mean, it speaks volumes about his personality. It speaks volumes about, you know, himself as a man. You know, and I mean, he's just a very commendable person. But So yeah, the final thing though I guess I wanted to talk about was, I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but the constant decline, this is how we're going to end the show, at least when it comes to the real wrestling discussion. It's just a constant decline of Monday Night Raw.
Oh God.
I know
Lord.
we've been here talking about this stuff, but I mean, my God, Monday Night Raw, I mean, I don't even want to watch Monday Night Raw anymore. The
No.
only thing I watch on Monday night is Monday Night Football. I pick it over Raw.
I'll be right back on.
So yeah, I mean, Donald, we'll talk for a moment while Andrew's doing his thing. But I mean, Raw's just not entertaining anymore.
Oh no, we tried commentating like a few weeks ago, and
And we couldn't. We
I
barely
literally-
got through the first hour.
I literally was falling asleep.
But that's the
Literally.
entire show.
Yes. It's ridiculous.
I mean, so actually, take it back. The thing I want to talk to you about is this. You know, talking about the decline of Monday Night Raw. It's kind of a person you can blame for it. But the rumors are now stating that when Vince McMahon either retires or passes away, whatever comes first, Triple H won't be taking over the company. It's now Nick Khan.
It doesn't bother me because I don't really watch it anyway.
I mean, but let me ask you this, just for, like, I know it doesn't bother you, but do you still think it's a mistake from a business decision to give it to Nick Khan over Triple H?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not really too familiar with him.
Nick Khan he's like,
I know who
No,
he
no,
is, but I don't really not too familiar with his decisions making.
he
and all that.
basically thinks along the lines of Vince.
Then definitely not. Then. Definitely
Yeah,
not good.
like I said, Triple H, in my mind, is the ideal candidate for running the company.
Yeah, but Triple H is a whole different story right now.
I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, he ain't leaving. I could see a world where he eventually leaves, just because of the way, you know, his product. I mean, let's be real. NXT is his baby, or at least this version of NXT. You know, it's basically everything we see now, or at least up until the 2.0 thing, was a result of Triple H. You know, he made NXT, in my opinion, I think in almost everyone's opinion, into the show to watch from WWE. Like, the only reason to watch WWE from like 2017, 16, 17, maybe even a little earlier than that, until like 2020 was because of Triple H. And NXT, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, NXT was a consistently great show with consistently awesome takeover pay-per-views, and it goes to show Triple H knows way more about how wrestling works from a creative point of view than Vince does. I mean, Triple H, in my mind, just has a better mind for the business than Vince.
I agree.
I mean, and we've seen all the stuff he's done. You know, the Undisputed Era. I mean, hell, he brought back War Games, and signed all these big name talents. I mean, it was a even mix of indie stars and performance center upstarts, you know.
Alright, I'm back.
Alright.
So we're just talking about, and we're talking about, I'll ask your thoughts on this. So what are your thoughts on the rumors, which are pretty valid at this point, you know, from Dave Meltzer and many other sources, saying that when Vince either retires or dies, whatever comes first, that Nick Khan is the next in line to be the man in charge and not Triple H now. It's now Nick Khan.
Personally, with that rumor, I think it definitely has some strong basis around it, some strong foundation. Personally, how I think is Nick Khan. I think what's going to happen is Shane, Stephanie, and Triple H are going to have more hands-on with the talent and the shows and everything. But Nick Khan is going to be the guy who's actually essentially behind the scenes. He's going to be the guy at the board meetings, at the network meetings, and all that stuff.
The shareholder meeting.
Pretty much. He's going to be the business aspect, while Triple H, Stephanie, and Shane handle more of
So you don't think the McMahons are going to just completely go away after Vince retires?
Personally, I don't, because at that point it is pretty much a legacy. It is a family business. Shane has 3 sons. Stephanie and Triple H have 3 daughters.
I mean, the wrestling stuff goes all the way back to Vince's grandfather, Jess McMahon, in the 40s
Yeah.
and 50s.
Yeah.
So this is an almost 70, 80, or almost an 80-year-old empire. You know.
Yeah, it's a dynasty, is what they got, and the
And I don't think it's
McMahon.
going to die anytime soon.
Nope. I think what's going to happen is when Vince McMahon steps down or dies, probably the latter. It's going to be kind of. It's gonna be split up. I don't mean split up like WWE is gonna be like cutting like shares and stuff. I mean what's gonna happen is because nobody, and I mean the one thing I will give Vince McMahon, out of all his faults, out of everything, he's out of touch, he's old, all that fun stuff. That man is a fucking workhorse, without a doubt. He to this day in his 70s, 80s, he is he is still going strong. He is still active with the talent.
And not only that, I mean, let's be real. I mean, the guy keeps himself in great shape too. If you've seen some of the stuff on his Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Working out. I mean, not many 70, 80-year-old men I've seen with a physique like that, and you know, fit as he is.
Oh yeah, and so.
I mean, hell, I mean, here's the thing. This man, like I said, is so rich now that he has a golden egg.
The man is
that's another topic in itself. I wish we were doing the Futureshock podcast, Donald, around the time of the golden egg. 'Cause I would tear into that.
I will say this: Vince McMahon is a man who, just as I said, despite his faults, despite everything, that man lived and breathed this business, and he is the guy who quite literally. Because you don't usually, because they talk about these people, oh, you know, this guy revolutionized that business, they did that. He is the living, breathing incarnation of somebody who had so much determination and ambition and and I know pun intended, but ruthless aggression.
I mean, it's not just a saying.
Exactly. It's not just a saying, it is a lifestyle, a way of life to him. He made what pro wrestling is nowadays. Whatever, regardless of what people want to say, he made pro wrestling what it is nowadays. And
we're getting some breaking news, but while you're doing that, keep talking while I go to confirm it.
Okay, so, but basically, just to finish off what I was saying, Vince McMahon, you know, he's a workhorse. He is there day in, day out. All the stories you heard about him, you know, he's not the best guy to work for, he's not the easiest guy to work for, but by God, he was there for everybody. If you could call him at like 2, 3 in the morning and he would pick up and talk to you. If you had a complaint, you could talk to him about it. He was there for the production meetings, the staff meetings, everything business and wrestling-wise, he was there for it all. And so, and on top of that, just the incredible shape he kept himself in was just, it's just fucking inhuman. Believe it or not, it honest to God is.
At his age, yeah. I mean, what I was trying to say, I'm trying to follow on this breaking news. Apparently, Chris Jericho has been hospitalized in the UK during a Fozzy tour. Nothing like life or death. They say it's a non-COVID treatable issue, so I guess get better soon.
Shit, well, you know, best of wishes to Chris Jericho.
Not trying to change the subject by saying that, but it just came in on the news and wanted to confirm it and see, you know, what we can report on it.
Yeah.
But I will ask you this. I mean, not how we see it now, but this goes for, and I want both of your thoughts on this.
Okay.
How do you, and I'm going to start Donald to see how to say on this. How do you think, Donald, Vince McMahon will be remembered when he's gone? Or when either when he retires or when he dies? I mean, how do you think history, in terms of wrestling, will look back on Vince McMahon?
Very much the fans are going to remember him just because the fans are the way they are. They're going to remember him as just out of date guy. Honestly, there's going to be fans that's going to be happy that he died. That's how fans are nowadays.
Like, there's probably going to be a party. I mean, if we're going to be real. I mean, but Andrew, I mean, you probably give him more detailed. Like, I mean, but how do you think the world, like, as in wrestling world, fans, historians, years from now, I mean, how do you think they're going to look back at 1984 to whenever Vince retires or dies?
Personally, how I think they're going to, because when it comes to pro wrestling, first off, what people need to understand is there's two people. There's not one Vince McMahon. There's the Vince McMahon you see on screen, and then there's the Vince McMahon you see behind the scenes. I think when he dies
or retires,
I think he is going to be remembered as the pioneer of pro wrestling. Whether people like him or hate him, you have to give him the respect you have to give him the credit and respect that it happens. Now, of course, I'm not justifying a lot of the bad things he's done, a lot of the
territories.
Yeah, all that stuff. I'm not trying to justify that, but at the end of the day, we talk about, there would be no EFED without Vince McMahon. There would be no PvP without Vince McMahon.
I mean, we're literally doing all this on a game that he essentially owns.
Exactly. It is literally, this is a man who has taken on and beaten the U.S. government. He has taken on and beaten God. He has taken on and beaten every challenge. He has beaten billionaires.
Except for Donald Trump.
he has beaten billionaires. He has beaten the government. He has beaten industries. He has beaten the territories. This is a man who quite literally said, yes, he literally said, I am not satisfied, I want more, and if you get in my way, I will beat you.
I mean, if you ask me, he won a ratings war that he really had no place winning, as in the Monday Night War.
Yeah.
I mean, that should have been a defeat for the WWF, you know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, WCW was equipped with everything needed to run WWF out of the wrestling world. Down to the NWO, I mean, that was the biggest act in wrestling at the time, And,
and by the way, I just want to point out, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but James Seal of the IWA Network pointed out that he said Vince McMahon's going to be remembered as the promoter who fired tons of people in the middle of a pandemic.
No, I mean, he's probably not wrong, though.
I'll tell you right now, Vince is going to be remembered for a lot of things, that's for damn sure.
That's one of them.
Good and bad.
I'm being dead serious. I mean, I think that is one of the things he will be remembered for, because it seems like one of the first actions he took right when COVID, first hit and got to its worst. People were getting dropped left and right, like in what may be one of the biggest, if not one of the biggest, if not the biggest, firings free WWE has ever went on.
Oh yeah.
It seems like by the end of that day, half of WWE was fired.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because they were.
Oh yeah, I mean, all I can say about Vince McMahon, two things I want to point out, both about the COVID pandemic that hit WWE and worldwide, as well as Vince McMahon's things. First and foremost, if I had to use a movie title to describe Vince McMahon, it's going to be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That is what he's going to be remembered as.
I mean, not everything he's done is bad.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why.
Yeah, I know. As I said, we think the first WrestleMania, the Attitude Era,
Mm-hmm.
These are the Ruthless Aggression Era, These are things that we'll always remember with fondness,
Hell,
look, WrestleMania 3, probably the greatest WrestleManias of all time. I mean, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, hell, look at yeah, look, I mean, hell, even if you want to go out of WWE, you wouldn't have the beloved actor Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He wasn't, and people say, oh, well, he was famous in football. No. Nobody talks about The Rock in football.
Let's be real. If he never wrestled, no one would ever know Dwayne Johnson, the offensive lineman, or maybe some sort of lineman, from the Miami Hurricanes. You know what I'm saying?
They know him as The Rock, and whenever another Samoan comes in, guess what? They're not. They're
related to The Rock.
Yeah, not the Wild Samoans, not the Fatus. That's The Rock's cousin. That, and I'm not trying to get this whole topic on The Rock, but the thing is, that would not exist without Vince McMahon and WWE. Hands down. People keep forgetting about that stuff. John Cena, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, all these big people that have done stuff outside of WWE and wrestling, thanks to Vince McMahon. And and whether you want to admit it or not, you have to give Vince McMahon credit for that. Because
now, one thing I am going to give Vince credit for, talking about giving Vince credit for things, to go along with what James Steele said, while I don't like what he did with firing all the, not all, but like basically half of WWE at that point in time, I will tell you a few things, though, during that time that he did right. The first thing he did right was, I mean, even if it was weird and different, the first thing he did right was continuing WrestleMania during the pandemic. I mean, let's think of the good things he did during the pandemic. I mean, he literally, made WrestleMania into a 2-night event at the Performance Center. So there's one thing Vince did. I mean, here's the thing: we all needed a night version at that point in time, and WWE was willing to give us one. We had WrestleMania, even if it was way different than any other WrestleMania we ever seen up to that point.
Oh yeah.
And how about this? Another thing to think about this. I mean, it was kind of weird, but I got used to it after a while, and looking back at it, it was actually pretty freaking cool, as in the Thunderdome.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just think of that. They literally set up shop in like a couple different, sports arenas around the world, since no one was going to them because of COVID. And I mean, putting up those like Zoom call screens or whatever, and I mean, it was cool. It was like the audience was still there, even if they were all sitting at home watching like a live stream of the show.
Yeah, and I mean, heck, and like the one thing that I want to point out with the pandemic thing that I, honest to God, get tired of people pointing out, like, he fired these people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not, like, I understand, yeah, he did fire a lot of people in the pandemic, and that was
maybe too many.
But my thing is, as, it wasn't just WWE that got hit with this. This was something that hit, like, countless businesses had to lay off everybody.
Shut New Japan down for almost a year.
Yeah, and it honest to God, was, like, he could have easily have just said, okay, no, y'all fired. Get out of here.
Let's just look at all the things that have happened since the pandemic. Plenty of wrestling promotions went on a hiatus to let this thing, situate itself out. MLW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, places like this. I mean, they went on long hiatuses just to have this thing situated. And now, if you look, I mean, it basically killed Ring of Honor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Ring of Honor, I know, wasn't really making the best business in the world before, but they weren't making really anything at all during COVID because, well, they weren't running shows because they didn't want to do a bunch of empty arena crap, and I can't really say I blame them. Wrestling is not the same without the fan reaction.
It's not. Without a doubt, it is not.
And I never thought about it until
it was taken away.
COVID. Like, I don't know about you, and Donald saying, I never really thought about the fans' reactions until they were gone.
Right. I agree.
I mean,
it's so. I mean, if you watch NXT UK after all the fans were gone, it was an empty arena. It was awkward as hell.
It was.
Well, I will say this: COVID was a terrible thing, and with wrestling, though, like if we're looking at wrestling, we got one thing out of it that I could watch a million times over, even if it doesn't have an audience, because the silence of the NXT UK Performance Center made Walter versus Ilya Dragunov maybe one of the greatest matches I have ever seen in my life.
The chops echoing around the arena, my God.
Killing, this is gladiator sports in the modern age.
No, I was just saying, like, if you ask me, that may be one of the greatest matches I have ever seen in my entire life.
Oh,
and their rematch was really good too.
I'm sorry.
Not as good as the first match, but I love
everyone's saying the match where he won a title finally was better than the first one. No, I disagree.
No.
I disagree.
The first one, oh my God.
That was on a different level.
That was just murder.
I don't think that can be topped.
He was like the hugest underdog.
They set the bar so high they set the bar so high with that first match that it could not be surpassed.
Like,
no matter what they did,
he was the hugest underdog.
They thought it would be big. They thought it'd be big, holding it in front of a, full Performance Center capacity crowd. But it didn't feel the same because again, you had the fans there now.
Yeah, here's the thing, like, it was this huge underdog versus this David Goliath motherfucker, and the second match, you knew he had to win this match. And he came out right out the gate, stunning Walter back and forth, like a super aggressive, and you knew how it was gonna end. You just knew.
I mean, here's the thing, you know, Ilya's selling during this match was next level shit.
Yes.
It legitimately looked like these guys were fucking killing each other.
I don't think it was so much selling as much as it fucking hurt him. Did you see his chest and back?
I know, but still, it's just the facial expressions, everything. It told the whole story of that match.
Like, this man's chest was ridiculous by the end of that match.
I mean, and then finally, you know, Walter got in the chokehold and Ilya passed out, and basically it was like watching Ilya get murdered, but damn, he went down with a fight.
Now that you say that, the second match, he actually ended up fucking putting Walter to sleep in a chokehold.
It was meant to mirror that.
Oh yeah, I just realized that now, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I see what they went for, you know. And, you know, I really wish we could have saw this, but they had Cesaro versus Walter in a WWE live event.
I'm sure that was great. I'm sure that was
I
great.
wanted to see if they recorded that match.
No one recorded it.
Up.
There's only a couple clips and some pictures. I'm like, the fact that nobody... The fact that... I mean, here, let me tell you something. Here's what I would do if I was WWE. Even if it was to put it on Peacock. I would have sent a camera crew to that match.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you ask me, that's one of those matches that needed to be preserved. I mean, we're talking Walter and Cesaro.
Oh, wait a minute. I actually might have something here. I got a 13-minute clip here of the match.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Oh, goddamn.
It's not the full match, but it's the majority of it.
Is it from it's like cell phone footage or what?
Yes. It's not. There's no ending to the match, but it's just 13 minutes
like
of
spots
them.
And stuff.
Just 13 minutes of them just going at it. So I'm sure this match went on for more than 13 minutes.
Oh, you know they gave them probably all the time in the world. But
yeah, shit, that would be their main fucking blockbuster match
honestly,
right there.
You know, I think Cesaro and Walter could easily go an hour against each other, and I wouldn't get tired.
Yes. And then they have a separate video of the ending of the match.
Now, here's the thing I want to point out to y'all.
Who won?
Imagine if Walter won, but imagine triple threat Cesaro versus Walter versus Dragunov.
I don't really think it would be as good as Walter against either of them one-on-one.
See, I don't know. I think it would be a damn good match.
My question is, what are they doing with Walter right now?
Well, Walter, now that NXT UK is... Rumor has it that NXT UK is folding, as you probably heard. They're folding NXT UK, that's what everyone's saying. They may keep the Performance Center, but NXT UK is all but done for. Apparently the plan, and I hate to think about this, but the plan is to send Walter to the main roster.
Send him to SmackDown.
SmackDown, go against Reigns.
No, the signs are pointing they're going to send Walter to Raw.
No.
Oh,
please.
God.
Are we gonna get fucking Walter versus Almost?
Well, yeah, we're gonna give him Karrion Kross's mask and fucking gimp outfit.
Oh my God.
I mean, here's the thing. Be like Vince McMahon watching, well, pal, I bet this guy's chops are nothing, and then we're gonna put him against Omos. And then Walter fucking shoots on his ass everywhere.
I'm sorry, but Chop and Walter is gonna. I don't know if Almost can take that shit.
That's gonna kill him, motherfucker.
I mean, Omos may be 7 foot tall, 400 pounds, but when you get chopped by Walter.
Yeah. If I had to see Walter in a main roster match, I want to see him go against Roman Reigns. I want to see him just be this big, beefy motherfucker where Roman Reigns tries to go for a Superman punch, and all Walter does is just chop the shit out of him in midair.
Yes.
And just be like, sit your ass down.
Like a fly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that wraps up pretty much my opinion on wrestling, and we already talked about stuff with EFED. I guess if you have any questions with that, you can go message Dalton, because a lot of you are probably going to watch a replay of this. So, if you have any, questions about it, you can ask me. You can ask Donald. But besides that, I'm pretty much done here. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, pretty much that's it.
Yeah, more or less. Any last comments, questions, or concerns from you guys?
I'm good.
Everybody good?
I'm as good as a villain can be.
Over 2 hour show. I guess we'll call it a night for now.
Oh shit! All right. Well, it was a pleasure.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Oh, for sure. Until next time.
Take